It's the evening of April 8th, 2015, and we find ourselves in a French bistro in the heart of Paris. Yves Bijot, the head of the French TV network TV5 Monde, was celebrating. His network had just launched a new channel that day, and after a full day of pomp and ceremony, Yves was ready to relax and enjoy a meal. And then, his phone rang. Just as the appetizers had hit the table, his phone began buzzing with a flood of calls and text messages. 11 of the TV channels that he managed had just gone off the air. It quickly became clear that TV5 was a victim of a cyber attack. By finding a vulnerability in just one computer, hackers were able to tunnel through the internet-connected hardware that controlled all of the TV network's operations and shut it down. Luckily for Yves, technicians that had been on site that day making sure the new channel launch went off without a hitch were still in the building when the attack happened. Acting quickly, they were able to locate the very machine where the attack was coming from and disconnect it from the network. And by 5 a.m., full service was restored. Now, there's nothing funny about this attack. This was a very, very real attack carried out against a very, very real television network. What did make me chuckle, however, was what happened the next day. Hours after service was restored, a reporter from TV5 was doing an interview about the hack. The interview was filmed inside the offices of TV5, in front of a staffer's desk. And in the background of the interview, you can clearly see several pieces of paper are taped on to what looks like some sort of window. And on those pieces of paper that were broadcast all over France and later broadcast all across the world, passwords. Passwords to some of TV5's most critical accounts, including my personal favorite, their YouTube password, which was, and please excuse my horrible French accent here, le mot de passe de YouTube, which translates to English as the password of YouTube. Now, to their credit, there's no direct link to the fact that they broadcast these passwords and the hack itself. But, I mean, come on. The password of YouTube as your YouTube password? Even I can do better than that, and I'm not a major TV network that's just been hacked. But as it turns out, most of us don't bother doing much better than that. We use passwords that can be guessed or the same passwords across multiple accounts. I don't know about you, but it seems that at least a couple of times a week, I'm asked to generate a new password for something or other, and sometimes using the same password for several accounts just seems practical. Though I know it's not. And I know that as annoying as passwords can be, that once someone cracks one of my passwords, it's probably not that hard to crack some more. Which is why today, I'm putting my passwords to the test. We've asked a professional password cracker, one of the world's very best, to put my passwords under the microscope and to try and hack me to see just how secure my passwords and accounts really are. Wish me luck. Welcome to Hackable, an original podcast from McAfee.
This computer is on the job around the clock in case of attack.
Their principal target is you.
The design is complete, but will it work?
Shake hands with danger.
I'm Geoff Siskin, and I'm here as always with Bruce Snell, cybersecurity expert. Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Geoff. How are you today?
I am okay, but in just a few minutes, a hacker is going to try and crack my passwords and break into all of my sensitive accounts and wreak havoc with my life. So there's that.
So like a normal day for you.
Yeah, just a normal day. A normal day at the Siskin household. But before we do that, my friend, I have some questions for you.
Yes.
You know, I've gotten a little smarter thanks to you since doing this show, but I used to use the same passwords for everything. Am I alone in that, or am I just a simpleton who doesn't understand how to use passwords?
You know, I was often told, don't ask a question you don't want the answer for.
Okay.
but no, you know, it's not that uncommon. I think people try to have their extra difficult passwords, and that's in air quotes, that they use for, you know, accounts that are more sensitive. But unfortunately, I think what happens is they end up using that same extra special account in multiple different places. So effectively, it becomes less special.
And given that there's a finite number of words in the dictionary, are we all using the same passwords for everything?
There is a company called Splash Data that actually every year has a list of the top 100 worst passwords of the year. Right.
Okay.
And they find this list in a really kind of an interesting way. They look at all of the data breaches, because basically when a data breach happens, those password lists are typically posted somewhere. Right.
Okay.
And so Splash Data collects all of these password lists and basically figures out what are the most commonly used passwords.
So what kind of passwords are on there?
Well, care to guess the number one password?
The password that most people had.
Yes.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Mm-hmm.
This is dumb. I'm going to guess password.
You're close. Password was number 2.
Oh.
And it's actually number 2 for the second year in a row.
Okay, so I'm going to give myself like half a point for that.
No, that was good.
Thank you.
Number 1 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that even by my standards, that's bad. Okay, so and then let's go down from there. So then number 2 is password?
Number 2 is password, and
okay.
number 3 switches it up from number 1, in that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Ooh,
yes, adding a
fancy.
few more digits. I bet you that's one comes from a site that requires 8 digits.
8 digits.
Or,
that would make a lot of sense. Okay, what else do we have?
Number 4 is QWERTY.
Okay.
What's interesting. I'm curious to see how long QWERTY stays up there, right? Because you look at, the amount of time that we spend typing on keyboards is kind of declining, right? And people are using more mobile interfaces. So I'm wondering how long QWERTY is going to stay as one of these top.
Okay, we'll have to track that.
Keep an eye out. And it's completely unscientific tracking.
Yeah. I'm going to get a team on that right now, Bruce.
Please do. A team of experts, top men. Number 5.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very nice. Classy.
And it continues. Number 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a new one for this year.
Okay. Well, that's, I'm surprised it took that long.
Number 7 is actually Let Me In. Number 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I'm sensing a pattern.
It would have been great if that was number 8 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I know. Somehow we'll have to. I'll also get a team of experts on that.
You totally do something about that. Yeah. Number 9, football.
Okay, classic American.
I think it's a little weird. Right? Who uses football as a password? Apparently, a lot of people do. Number 10.
Yeah.
Dear to my heart. I love you.
Oh, that is
sweet.
That is sweet. Were there any that surprised you that are on the list?
Dragon showed up at number 18, which I think is kind of weird. I don't know why, but it just strikes me as odd. Maybe it's a Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah.
There's also a few, inappropriate words that showed up in the top list.
Just because humans are horrible people. It's the lesson to be learned from there.
But number 100. Let's go down to number 100.
Okay, let's go. What's 100?
Thunder.
Ooh.
Could you add some thunder effects in post when I say that?
Yeah.
Okay,
for
thanks.
sure.
I'll
put some.
You'll get right on it.
I'll get right on that. So, for my money, the problem with these passwords, or really any passwords for that matter, is that you have to remember them, which I'm not amazing at. So while we were researching this episode, we came across a very non-traditional way of retrieving passwords that you may have forgotten. Hypnotism.
That sounds fascinating.
We found there was people that used hypnosis to retrieve passwords. So our story producer, Mark Apollonio, was curious. And so in the name of science, Mark Apollonio underwent hypnosis to try and retrieve a password. And thankfully for us, recorded the whole thing. And I want to play that for you now.
Welcome to Be Focused. Let's take a moment to find a comfortable place for your mind and body and emotions to relax and unwind. And so we can allow...
That's Michelle Guzzi, a hypnotherapist from Los Angeles. It's from an MP3 she sent me called Be Focused. It's a primer, get me used to her voice, put me in the mood for hypnosis, because I was about to be hypnotized.
Let's begin by focusing on a point on the wall or ceiling with the eyes open.
Researching this episode, we at Hackable came across a lot of references to a problem unique to our era: forgotten digital passwords of all kinds. Email accounts with no recovery backups, Bitcoin keys and the Bitcoins that go with them. We were intrigued to learn that some hypnotherapists are now taking a crack at the market of forgotten passwords. They plumb the depths of people's minds to help them dredge up lost codes. I'm still looking for reference to anyone who's actually used hypnosis to successfully recover a lost Bitcoin key. So in a shamefully unscientific exercise, I wanted to see if hypnosis could help me remember some lost bit of information. But I can't remember anything I've forgotten. For this exercise, then, I need my memory to do something it does very well: malfunction. To orchestrate my own memory loss, I created a new email account. I didn't think about it for several days, at which time I tried to remember the password and, success, I couldn't.
And I want you to begin by taking in some deep breaths for me. We breathe.
I connected with Michelle Guzzi, hypnotherapist, on Skype.
Now, each and every time that I suggest the words deep sleep or snap my fingers only for hypnosis, only with your permission you will enter the state of hypnosis very quickly and very calmly and deeply, and the body will relax.
What you're hearing is an expedition into the recesses of my mind. I'm lying back in an armchair. I've never been hypnotized before, so I don't know what I'm supposed to feel, but I am incredibly relaxed.
And what do you do with your coffee? Where do you put your coffee? On the left or the right-hand side?
Right.
Michelle is now walking me through my memory of the day I made the forgotten password.
So you have two things. You had both of those in your hands?
We cover my day in extreme detail, leading up to the moment I created the email account. And then it starts coming back to me.
The password is frozen. The password is river. The password blue.
About 2 hours after the hypnosis began, I think I have my feeble password.
I'm ready to type in the password.
Okay, so tell me what it was out loud again for me. Look up at that painting.
One frozen river. It worked.
It worked.
That's right.
Wow, you are very talented.
So are you.
Ah, thank you. So here's what happened.
While I'm not saying that our highly unscientific exercise means that we at Hackable endorse hypnosis for lost passwords, I am saying, if you're desperate, this could be worth a try.
Your mind is now clear and free. Your mind is now focused.
That was Mark Apollonio undergoing these soothing sounds of hypnosis and retrieving his password. It worked for Mark. Have you ever undergone hypnosis?
No, I've not, actually. I'm afraid I'll, run through the street clucking like a chicken with no pants on or something.
Well, there you go. So now I'm going to see if a password cracker can have success cracking my passwords. I'm going to be talking with Rick Redman, who's from a company called Core Logic, and he's a security consultant who specializes in password cracking. And he's going to see how vulnerable all of my sensitive accounts really are.
Good luck.
Thank you. So you seem to know the answer already in your face. I don't feel very confident about that. All right. Thanks, Bruce. All right. I'm here with Rick Redman from Core Logic. Rick, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to do it.
You're a professional, I want to say password cracker, but that's not really a job title.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, that is my job and that is what I do, but that doesn't tell the full story.
Well, what does Core Logic do? That may help us out.
We mostly do pure penetration testing.
Okay.
And those in the field know what that means, and everyone else is giggling.
and through the process of doing this podcast, I've learned to stop giggling.
Yeah, I mean, my job since 1999 has been wearing slacks and dress shirts and combing my hair and going into Fortune 50s and compromising and stealing data. A section of that job is passwords.
So today, we're going to take a look at how vulnerable I am and how hackable my passwords are.
Yep. I think that's a good test because my passwords have been leaked. My information's out there, Anytime some new dump happens or whatever, I go looking for my family. I go looking for my friends because, we all use the internet.
When the stuff is breached, And you sort of say the data is dumped? Like, what does that mean? Where does this stuff live?
Well, I mean, initially it lives on the bad guy's computer. I mean, it's the bad guy that does the hacking, and then it's the bad guy that downloads it.
Okay, and how do you get it?
People share it, and some of them are on tour, the dark web. But honestly, the large majority of them are just on the internet.
So, how do I find out if I have been part of a hack?
Well, it used to be impossible, but these days it's easier and easier because there's more password recovery sites. So I mean, the biggest one is Have I Been Pwned?
So this is a website that you can go to, and all these dumps are available?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially it's a website where you can go and you can type in your email address. My email address is so-and-so at whitehouse.gov, and it'll tell you which leaks it has and which ones that your password has been compromised on.
All right, well, let's try this. I'm curious about my account to see if I've been compromised or not. What's the website address?
Have I Been Pwned? And pwned is spelled Pwned.
Okay.
And the reason it's called, pwned is a play on terms on the word owned, which is, if I break into you, I own you.
So I'm going to type my email address into haveibeenpwned.com. And I hit pwned ? Oh no, pwned, it says. I have on 4 breached sites. Oh, that's horrible. So according to this, a breach is an incident where a site's data has been illegally accessed by hackers and then released publicly. Okay, so I was part of 4. Wow. So, and at each of these, it tells the kind of information that's available about me. Everything from email addresses to password hints to passwords and usernames, payment histories, my physical street address, I guess. Wow. So is the idea that all of this information is available about me somewhere online? Is that right?
Yeah, bad guys have this information.
So thankfully, you're not a bad guy, but you have access to this information too as well, right?
Most of it.
So from here, you can search your database of stuff that you've gotten, and you'll be able to see what information you can gather about me?
Yeah, that's the theory. It really boils down to what we can find.
Well then, good luck. I'm going to check in with you shortly.
Okay.
And you'll let me know what you find.
All right, I'll do some digging.
All right, Rick, we are back. You have been off digging through your evil guy database that you found about me on haveibeenpwned.com. I'm nervous, and I want to know, what have you found? Have you found anything?
Yeah, we found some stuff that I actually still have searches going because the amount of data that has been leaked of this type, I mean, it's huge.
Okay.
I can a little bit of good news is that I did not find you on Adult Friend Finder. You weren't on there. That's some good news. That's a
Well, amen for small miracles,
Yeah, small miracles. So one of the first places I look for, because I'm targeting you is the LinkedIn. So LinkedIn was compromised 6 months later. People found out about it. And because you are a professional, that's a good place to start because it contains email addresses and password hashes. And we know they're real and we know exactly when it occurred. And that can be beneficial because if your password turns out to be, summer 2012, and I know that that's when the hack occurred, then I can probably guess your password now.
Okay. And was I there?
Well, kinda. So you were definitely in there. You definitely have an account, but because of an unknown reason, your password hash wasn't there. So what the hash is, that's how they store your passwords. When you type your password into a website, they usually, don't store it in plain text. They make a hash of it and store that. And your data, I could see that you were there, but you were one of the lucky ones to where you didn't. So your password, it just showed us 3 X's. I don't know what you did to where I'm in there and my password's in there, but you're not. So I don't know what you did.
I quite frankly don't know what I did either. I'm gonna chalk it up to my technical genius.
Yes.
Even though it wasn't that at all.
Right. When I tell people kind of what I do, they're, oh, what's the big deal about getting into my account? If I go straight to your PayPal account and you have the same password, I'm going to extract your money. If you have Bitcoins, I'm going to go to all the markets and I'm going to try your password and I'm going to try to steal your money. Even your shopping websites, they're like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Well, I mean, on Amazon, do you store your credit card in your profile?
Since I've been doing this show, I now use a password safe that generates all these gobbledygook passwords. And who knows, maybe that's the reason my passwords didn't get breached when all the rest of the LinkedIn passwords got breached. I don't really know. But I know somebody who doesn't do that. In fact, has been asking me to hook him up with that. My father is certainly of the generation of people, and not to disparage the people of my father's generation, but who are, in my experience, likely to have the same password for everything. Just out of curiosity, I should probably ask him if we can do this. What would happen if we typed his email address into Have I Been Pwned?
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, so let me try this. Oh, and he's part of the LinkedIn one. Okay, so in May 2016, he was part of this LinkedIn breach of 164 million email addresses and passwords exposed. So, do you happen to have the LinkedIn dump?
I definitely have it.
Okay, you know what we're gonna do before I do this? I'm just gonna call my dad and ask him if this is cool. All right, I will call you right back.
All righty.
Hi.
Hello, Father.
Hello, son. How are you this morning?
I am well. How are you?
Okay.
I have a weird question for you.
Okay, I have a weird answer.
Okay, perfect. So we're I'm doing an episode of Hackable right now, where we're looking at passwords, and I have a guy, and I wanted him to hack me.
Okay.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, my password isn't vulnerable enough. But
mine is totally vulnerable.
but yours is. So here's my question for you.
Yes.
If he promises to be nice, and I promise to come over afterwards and install that password application where you can get really secure passwords.
Yes.
Can he hack you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, he'll hack you, and then I will come over toot sweet, and we will secure everything for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you for being a good sport. I appreciate that. That's love.
Okay, that's love. Yeah, it's total. Because I mean, if not, there goes your inheritance.
All right, so Rick, my father has, because he loves me, he said it's okay to do this. The deal he's made with me is that after we're done, I will go to his place and I will hook him up with the password safe. But my father is a great candidate for this because he has the same password for everything, I'm pretty sure. So what if we look him up as part of the LinkedIn dump? What can you find?
Well, he's in there and his password hash is in there. So immediately, that's a pretty bad sign.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, because right now, about 90, I haven't checked in a while, but it's about 98.1% cracked, meaning of all the passwords, over 98% of them are cracked. So it's a very small minority of people who made a password that the best password crackers in the world can't crack.
Okay, so what is my dad's LinkedIn password?
Your dad's LinkedIn password is...
Okay. So you know his password, and so what can you do with that?
Well,
I guess here's my first question. Has he changed it since it's been breached?
I do believe that he either had to change it, meaning they forced it, or they have disabled all accounts. So it likely it's not even worth trying on LinkedIn.com anymore.
Okay, so we can't get into his LinkedIn, but what can you do with that password?
Well, I mean that's the rub. That's the challenge. I mean, since he said it's okay, I could. Amazon's a good example. I happen to know that Amazon isn't exactly, they want a lot of the e-commerce sites. Now, they will have strong security, but they don't want to do too much to scare away customers.
So then you could go to Amazon.com and you would try out, what you imagine his username to be, thinking it might be the same as LinkedIn and the password that you have.
Here, I'm going to copy and paste. All right. Well, it's asking me for a password.
Okay.
So let's see. And we're in.
You're into his Amazon account?
Yeah, we're into the Amazon account.
Oh my God.
It can be that easy.
The fact that you can get that far, you're into the first account that you tried.
Right.
I have a feeling if you're into this one, do you want to try Facebook just for fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in.
You're into his Facebook account?
Yeah. Not a lot going on, but we're in it.
Oh my God. Okay. That's incredible. I'm feeling like we should leave my dad alone maybe at this point. But that, I think what that shows me is, the slippery slope, which I hadn't really thought about. With breaches, not only should you, secure that one account that's been breached, but if that is used anywhere else, you kind of got to do everything.
Yep. You really do.
Thank you so much for your time, Rick.
Oh, yeah. It's fun.
I'm back with Bruce Snell, cybersecurity expert. So Rick didn't crack me completely, did crack my dad. And I have to say, after we were done recording, I hooked my dad up with a password safe so he could have more complicated passwords.
Well, that's good.
So what can somebody do, Bruce, to keep themselves safe from this kind of stuff?
Well, and I know I've said this many times, and in fact, I think we should call this the "As Bruce has said many times" episode. But
say it again.
But I mean, it is, and I think you've got some good examples of why it's so important that we use a unique password for everything.
If I think about how many times a week I'm asked to create a password for something,
mm-hmm.
often it's for things I go to once.
Right.
I order a lamp online and I need a password. I go to IKEA and I need it. Like things that I wouldn't think I would need a password for. I probably have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of passwords of things I visit once every couple of years. Some things I visit every single day, and those I could probably keep in my head. But my IKEA password,
well, and the thing is with your IKEA password, maybe it's worth the time to take 2 minutes to reset your password. Right. If you created a password a year ago and don't remember it, it's probably easier to hit, reset my password, spend the 2 minutes to create a new one that you'll promptly forget because, it's not an important thing versus, going and being hypnotized for a couple hours to figure it out. So, I mean, it's all about how difficult and painstaking you want it to be. Right. And you can even go, most browsers have an option to, generate a password. I think, if I look as I'm creating a new account on the Safari browser on my phone, a lot of times it'll give a suggested password. And then if you use that password, it'll store that password in an encrypted file on your phone and in your iCloud and sync it across your mobile devices. Right. So there are options to use, kind of built-in tools. But we just have to accept the trade-off of, maybe sometimes you'll forget them and you'll have to do a reset. It's far better to go that route than use banana, right? As I look over at number 61 on the list, banana, than using that on every password.
Is there anything else?
Well, along those lines, right? So as if you're starting to use a password management tool, or if you're starting to use, the built-in browser tool to keep your password secure, you also want to make sure that your device is secure. Right?
Okay.
So,
and how do you do that?
So for that, again, make sure that you update to the latest security updates that come up for your device, for your Android or iOS or Windows or whatever. And then also, for your laptop and for your Android device, make sure that you're running some sort of, antivirus or security software to keep that system from being hacked. Right? Because if, let's say, for example, you've got your password management tool, it's probably keeping it in an encrypted file, but you still want to make sure that file stays safe.
Okay, that's a lot to remember. And it's a lot. Because I feel like, okay, I've got the password management, the password safe. now someone can hack into my machine and get all that stuff.
But to be honest, that's a really an outlier. Security is always about the weakest link.
Okay, so let me make sure I have this straight. Number one, use a unique password for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use banana across the board, or
Right.
hackers are going to get you. And you can do that using any kind of password management tool.
Right.
And there's lots out there, isn't there?
There's tons.
Okay, so either one that you pay for, which is what I do, or use a built-in browser tool, and keep your devices safe. Update your devices, install security software, whatever you can do to make sure that bad guys aren't getting into your treasure trove of passwords.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It sounds a lot more complicated when we talk about it. Really, a lot of these password management tools have gone a long way to make things very simple. They're not flawless, but it's a lot better than your password getting hacked and having your son look in your Facebook account.
All right, Bruce. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Geoff.
I'm Geoff Siskin, and you've been listening to Hackable, an original podcast from McAfee. It's been a really good month for us here at Hackable. Last week, I told you how we hit the milestone of 1 million downloads, which was totally awesome, and truth be told, kind of humbling too. Well, this week, things got even more awesomely surreal when we got news that we were the winners of a Shorty Award for our podcast. And if you don't know the Shorty Awards, they recognize people that produce short-form content online. And given the other podcasts we were up against for this thing, it honestly feels totally nuts that we won. So thank you, Shorties. This is so cool. And as always, if you want to find out more about our show, please check out our website, hackablepodcast.com. And if you haven't been to the site yet, you really should, if only to see how beautiful the thing is. It's all done with these really cool hand-drawn illustrations that I think give the whole thing a really, really cool look. Again, that's hackablepodcast.com. Next episode in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.